cup at a time. Yeah, this is tea time. Making a difference. One cup at a time. Tea time. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time. Making a difference. One cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time.
Well, welcome. It is tea time, and Miss Liz is back. Tonight, we have the second last show of the year of 2022. That's right. And tonight, I have Jamika Smith in the house for Teena's Legacies. We're going to talk some legacies tonight and some empowerment, some training, mentoring, all of that good stuff. So grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab a glass of wine, whatever you're comfortable with drinking, because you don't need to drink tea with Miss Liz, because we're not serving the beverage here tonight. We're serving a different type of tea. We're serving the TEA of the guests. So we're going to get the disclaimer in, we're going to do her bio, and then we're going to get Jamika in here, and we're going to serve you a good, strong cup of tea tonight on Tea Time. The disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live shows. Miss Liz, myself, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith, however, may bring forth dialogue and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment in taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussion for some where it may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that this show is engaging in discussion for form only, to offer and inspire awareness and connection, and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about this disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact me, Miss Liz, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in tonight's show in any aspect, I welcome you. And should you decide that the show is not made for you at this time, I also respect that, and I will see you at a later show at a later date. So now that the disclaimer is out of the way, let's get this bio out of the way, and then let's get Jamika in here, and let's have some good, strong tea and talk about legacy. So Jamika Smith inspires those to live a more fulfilling, loving, and joyful life by assisting them in reconnecting with their inner wisdom and life purpose to discover what they want in life and achieve it with ease and grace. As a seasoned mentor and trainer, Mrs. Smith graduated from the University of Tennessee at Martin with a BA in Human Environmental Science and later earned an MA in Community Development from North Park University in Chicago. Mrs. Smith is particularly interested in model of human and social development that employ practically, there goes my tongue, community-driven approaches. Mrs. Smith is currently the founder of Teena's Legacy and a not-for-profit charitable organization whose mission is to create a safe space for young women and women in general to explore their authentic selves using upholstery as a conduit for self-reflection, self-expression, and economic transformation. She is also the CEO of Affirm My Design LLC, which provides a holistic approach to the upholstery and home deco industry. Not only does that assist in your upholstery needs, but she also is a position to help you use upholstery as a tool to help your individuals create themselves as anew. So now that I got that all out and my tongue's a little twisted here, let's get Jamika in here and let's have some tea. Welcome, Jamika. It is an honor to have you here tonight.
How are you, Miss Liz? Let me just say, I love your intro. That was cool.
Oh, well, thank you. There's a new one coming, so get ready for it because 2023, there's a lot of popping new things coming. But Jamika, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and thank you for accepting my request to come on Tea Time. I really wanted to get your organization out there because I feel that it's different and it actually empowers a lot of women from the bare bone to the stages of the finished product, right? So let's get into that, and let's get the backstory first before we get into all that good stuff. So how did Teena's legacy begin?
Wow. My grandmother, I started it in honor of my grandmother. She was a self-taught seamstress and interior designer. She just had this really creative um, energy about herself when it comes to turning, nothing into something. Taking the old and transforming it into something new. Um, and she raised her family with the small business along with other things, but she had like a little business out of her garage selling her products, her curtains and bedspreads, her interior products. And she was just an amazing spirit. Amongst other things she was amazing about. So when she transitioned back in 2019, yeah. Ooh, was it? No, 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 no. She transitioned back in 2009. I mean, 2000. Oh man, yeah, 2009. It just felt like she's still here with me because of the work that I'm, the work that I'm doing. But she transitioned back in 2009, and kind of started because I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and um and it just I was reflecting, right? I did tell myself like when it was time for God to bless me with the seed that I wanted to stay home with my baby and just just nourish her, him or her, and watch them grow and develop. But I think my little one, she got to a point when she was like, "Listen, I'm ready to go to school. I don't want to be homeschooled anymore." Because she is such a social butterfly, right? And yeah, it just wasn't working. So it's like, now what do I do? Because my background is community development and social work and things to that nature. But I did vow myself during that reflection process that if I was to go back to the nonprofit sector, that I would start my own nonprofit. So it was just one day I was taking my little one to the park, and there was a Chase Lounge in the alley, and I have to pass this Chase Lounge like every day. Normally the garbage will pick it up, but that Chase Lounge stayed there for at least 4 days, and it was just one day I got this strong voice that stopped me in my tracks and said, "Girl, if you don't get that Chase Lounge right now," right? So it was so clear, "Girl, if you don't get that Chase Lounge right now." And it just stopped me in my tracks. And that's when I went into the house and told my mother, "Somebody told me that I need to get this Chase Lounge," because it wasn't me, because I vowed that I would never dumpster dive, because my grandmother used to make me and my brother do it when we were younger. And she used to embarrass the heck out of me and out of my brother. Uh, so as I was walking by, I was like, "Nope, I ain't doing it. Nope, I ain't doing it." But it was just one day she came to me and said, "Girl, you better do it." So me and my mom went in the alley and got that Chase Lounge, and we went to this hotel warehouse outlet consolidation place and got some hotel draperies for a bundle for $10. And that day we reupholstered that Chase Lounge. And that Chase Lounge is in my mother's bedroom to this day. And that was back in 2011. So she still had that Chase Lounge. And it was just $10. It was free. So this beautiful Chase Lounge that you could probably get out the store for about $400, $500. We retransformed it, with $10 and some tools. Um, and it turned out beautiful. And that was the first time that I've ever reupholstered anything. in my life. That was the first time that I've ever touched a tool, even the whole process in general. And it just came natural. It just seemed as though as soon as I picked that tool up, I knew exactly what to do. It was like this step by step knowing on how to reupholster that chase lounge. And then um, a year later, it it dawned on me. It's like maybe I can teach. I never wanted to be an upholster, but maybe I can teach this to other young women in the community and help them generate an additional income for their household. So that's how it started in my living room with four girls, teaching them just the basics of what I've picked up. No technical training at all. This was all self-taught. So I just taught them what I knew, and that was the birth of Teena's legacy.
I love that you say self-taught because we always think that we need this training or this education, or this degree in order to do something. And you self-taught yourself to make a difference. Like I was surprised that you said 2011. I thought it was like just something like a couple years, and I'm like, oh, 2011, she's got it in the park, girl. Like, so how many chairs have you done since then, Jamika?
Oh my, I haven't counted so many. So I've worked with at least so the foundation of Tina's legacy was pretty much to work with young women ages 21 to 35 years old. 21 to 35. Um, and breaking it down a little bit more, being more specific, working with African American young women who have children, specifically young boys
Oh,
that haven't reached the third grade yet, right? So my theory was teach them this trade along this process. Teach, kind of implement some life skills and some parenting skills that can help them avoid their children to um, to go down that pipeline to prison that they've developed,
yeah.
for our young Black men. So I was very specific um, on the ladies that I wanted to target. But over the years, it kind of expanded. So I've literally worked with kindergartners to senior citizens, all race of people, different religion, from Saturday a vintage to Buddhist. I've worked with HIV patients, cancer survivors, foster children. Last year, I actually worked with a group of young people, a group of young ladies in Nigeria via Zoom. And that was an amazing experience. So, well, over 300 people that I've engaged with my upholstery process. I can call it a process.
Well, it is a process, right? Because you're tearing these chairs down to the bare bone.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
where do you usually get the chairs, Jamika?
So some of them, depending on the organization that I work with, they will probably, identify some that's already in their organization. Some are donated, but most of them are coming from like thrift stores, Salvation Armies, the alleys, people, attics and basements. People, throw out. They will call, listen, do you want this before I throw it out? Right. So that's how normally I will obtain our chairs for these projects.
So, for the chairs, is there a woman working on just one chair, or is there a bunch of women working on one chair?
So there's a couple of programs that I have. So this part kind of the whole. So people call this. I'm still trying to figure out. Next year would be our 10-year anniversary, and I'm still trying to figure out. People. I guess some people say I can't really just use therapy because I'm not a therapist or whatever. But some people look at it as cheer therapy, right? Or art therapy. When I was working with the four girls in my dining room, so these young girls are coming from Chicago, Illinois, and one of the toughest communities in Chicago called Inglewood. It has so much culture there, so many great people there, but unfortunately, the violence there is something that we can really work on in that particular area in our community. And I used to work in that community a lot as a community organizer, but they will come to me and we will start working on these chairs and stripping these chairs down. And what I've noticed in the process of them stripping the chairs down, these conversations started to come up, right? They started to talk about their household. They started to talk about their community. They started to talk about the things that they were dealing with emotionally. Some real deep stuff that they emotional things that they were carrying. Um, and it was just so amazing how they were so free to express themselves as they were going through this process. And another thing that I noticed is that as they were, going through this process, I felt some of that stress and um, some of that negative energy lift off of them during that period of time. And it was just an amazing experience to the point where I'm like, okay, y'all, it's time to go. Let's wrap up. Let's go. And they felt so comfortable in the space. Um, so it was just a real amazing experience. And that's when I realized that this is something a little deeper than just reupholstering, cheers, right? This is the opportunity for young women to really pull back the layers of some things that they may be dealing with, some of their challenges and barriers that's holding them back, from taking that next step, whatever that step may be. So yeah, it's just yeah. That's when it kind of dawned on me. It's like, wow, I probably need to develop something around this whole process.
But you have been developing as time goes on, Jamaica. You've been doing this since 2011, and like you
Yeah.
said, your 10th anniversary is coming up. So obviously you're doing something right, you know, and it's growing and growing and growing and getting bigger. But it takes time, and sometimes the mission or the purpose in life, we sometimes lose that focus because we're so, well, what is the message that I need to do? What is it that I need to do? You know, and when you're talking about bringing the people and the women are opening it, it's almost like tearing the onion apart, layer by layer. They feel safe and that they can open. And you probably have even saved some lives by just having this program out there for these women, you know, because they may have felt safe or comfortable in your own environment.
Yeah, I'm actually at the Boys and Girls Club right now and working with a handful of young girls ages 15 to 18 years old. And there's one young lady there. She's 15, and when we first met, she was so closed off, right? She didn't want to tell me her name. She said that I have social anxiety, so I don't, really talk, and I prefer not to talk. She was like really that clear, like, I don't want to talk, right? I don't want you to know my name. It was just, I was like, all right, you could, whenever you're ready, you can, you can tell me your name. So I have four cheers. It started off with like 10 girls, and over the period of time, it dwindled down to these three amazing spirits, right? They came every day, charged up, excited to work on these cheers. And this one particular young girl at the beginning wouldn't say a word. This is like the 10th session, and I can't shut her up. Like,
You really peeled that onion back a lot.
oh my goodness. And the coordinator, she was like, we have to tell her story because, and then her parents, they were just, sharing that she has never been this interested in anything in her 15 years of, and they were really kind of excited about the fact that, she is, she's opening up, So her chair represents, she said her chair represents planted, no, bloom where I'm planted, or planted where I'm bloomed, or I can't remember, planted where I'm bloom or bloom where I'm but it's about a flower blooming, so that's what her chair represents. And she finished it, yes, just today, and it looks so beautiful. And we have an art exhibit showcase tomorrow, so I'm excited about it.
So you're gonna have like an art gallery for the chairs?
It's an exhibit of all of the arts that art projects that the young people did at the Boys and Girls Club throughout the 11 weeks.
Oh,
So
so
I'm
it'll be there
sorry.
for 11 weeks.
No, the program was 11 weeks.
Oh,
So
okay.
within those 11 weeks, they design like these really, really cool chairs, and they get to showcase them to the community and their parents tomorrow.
Oh, so you must be super excited about that.
Yeah, they're really excited. And then it's a contest. So one of them may win. I'm excited, and I hope they do.
So what's the contest?
I don't know what they will win, but they have judges coming from the Boys and Girls Club corporate or something. So they're gonna come in and judge the kids' art, and I guess they're gonna have a first, second, and third place winner.
Oh, that's super cool. So
Yay!
so Jamika, what got you into the Boys and Girls Club?
You know what? I think it was probably a word of mouth. Somebody knew that I was doing like some, this work in the community, and they reached out to this other organization called the South Shore Art, and then the South Shore Art um, reached out to me and asked me if I would like to go into the Boys and Girls Club. So I'm actually contract through the South Shore Arts to do the work at the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, that's cool. So for any of the viewers and listeners out there that don't know what the Boys and Girls Club is, could you share a little bit on that, Jamika?
It's just a community organization within, I guess it's definitely a nationwide organization in many cities. And they just provide like different activities for the young people in the community.
That's awesome. So we do have a question here, and they're asking, is art connected to the designing?
Oh, great question. I wish I had pictures so you guys can see the beauty of the. So, one of the young girls, her chair is represented as she loves to travel. She loves the community. So, what we did was wrap her chair with canvas material, and she just went to town on it, right? So, she just painted like this really cool mountain scenery with roads and houses and stars in the sky, and the seat part is it's a road, like it's, I can't just explain it, but
So
it's
if anybody
beautiful.
check out these chairs, could they check them out on the website?
Yes, go to the website and you could www.teenaslegacy.com, or on Facebook, Teena's Legacy on Facebook, and you can see the beautiful chairs. But yes, they are all art pieces. Each chair tells a story.
See,
Each
and
chair
we
tells a
we were
story.
talking about that in the backstage before the show went live about a storybook, you know, and
Mhm.
I think this is where the story comes in. Tell your story, you know, the story behind the chair.
Yes,
Like there's a lot that you could do for your 10th anniversary. We could talk about that and kind of surprise people over there.
that is so awesome.
So now I want to get into your tea, Tina, Jamika. We're talking about Tina's legacy, so there is a Tina, so I'm still safe. But Jamika, what is your tea?
That's really interesting. The acronym for T. When I think about that, hmm, the T, where I'm at right now, I can consider myself teachable. I'm just at a point where um, I will, I'm in this progression, stage of my life, and I'm open, to listen and learn from others. The E, elevate. We're going on our 10 years. Elevate out, taking it to the next level, and then activate. Let's
Ooh,
move
look at
forward,
you
right?
go!
I love that. Let's activate.
I told you your tea would come to you. And that's why if we overthink our teas, then we start, oh, we're self doubting and self questioning ourselves, right? And that's what I
Hmm.
said. Just let it flow, girl, because that's the way we do it. And I love that you put that word activate because I haven't had that word yet from any of the guests. So,
Really?
yeah, so you got a good one there, girl. You're just like, woof, let's go. So, you said that you're going on your 10th year soon. So, how do you feel about that? 10 years of doing this?
I'm I'm excited. It went so time is just flying by like 10 years. But I don't know if you can see behind me right there, that's my vision board. So I have a vision in moving Tina's legacy, and taking Tina's legacy to the next level. I would love to focus on more fundraising for next year. Next year, I'm definitely going to be really training a couple of, like, intentionally training a couple of young women to really help grow Tina's legacy too. So I've pretty much been like a solo act with some really cool, you know, a little, volunteers from different organizations. But it's just kind of time for me to really identify some real cool young women who has a lot of potential, who's open to experience and explore different things. And I think that um I think that I'm the right person to kind of guide them, because Tina's legacy is just not about teaching upholstery. It's more of a holistic, process. Going through this it is a training program, so I would love for them. They will stay on for 2 years and go into my for-profit Affirm My Designs. But if going through this process, they found out that they're naturally good at something else, I would love to guide them through that process and help them um, really figure out why they're on this earth, right? So with this process, that's the underlining goal, is to help women really identify, why am I here? Like, who am I as an individual? Where I'm at in my life right now, and then the other one is, where am I trying to go? Um, so yeah. So
And I think
for
those are important questions, right?
huh?
Th- Those are really important questions to be asking as well. We're not asking enough of that.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said we're not asking enough of that. Like, why are we here? Who are we? You know, because when we ask a person, "Who are you?" They're like, "Well, I'm I'm a woman. I'm a man. I'm." But we really don't know how to go and get deep inside ourselves because it's hard
Yeah,
for
what's
us
the
to really
essence?
show ourselves. Right? It's like that onion. It's like that woman that didn't want to talk, and then at the end she was talking forever. You know, we're onions. We need to be peeled back, and it's like the chairs. They need to be peeled back right to the bare bone, and then come to life. So.
Yeah, it's a cool process. It really, really is. I just completed a session with about 12 young women. So I partner with another local organization in Chicago, and this organization specifically work with young men who have connection with the gang life in Chicago. But I was working with their girlfriends. The And this was a really, really interesting process, but it was so fulfilling also, because they were able to really identify their barriers. And that's one of the processes is an assessment. We assess who you are as an individual. We assess the chair, but we also assess who you are as an individual, meaning in different areas of your life, like what is holding you back from excelling in your career or excelling in your health or your spirit or your emotions, you know. And we just kind of identify those things, that those barriers. And after we do that, we go through this releasing process, like how do we release those things, and that's the strip down process. You know, we're releasing them and stripping them down. And then there's a second assessment, because once you strip yourself down and you're vulnerable, the cheer is bare, we don't even know what's underneath it.
When you start taking it apart, and I'm sure you get some surprises sometimes, right?
You get some surprising. You got wood that probably needs to be mending. The batting or the cotton probably needs to be replaced. Anything, right? And that's when we say, wow, I got some work to do. I got some work to do. Now we're at this point when we kind of assess, pull back, assess again. Now the question is, wow, now I have this blank canvas. What do I want to create? Who do I want to be? Um, who did God say I am? Right? Um, and even ask the question, and even when they write those big dreams down, like, what are those barriers that's holding you back from those? And how can we substitute those barriers with something a little bit more positive, to make it easier for you? So we do some visualization things. And because what I've noticed is that, especially in the inner city and working with young women, they don't have the audacity to dream big. They don't know how to dream big, you know. And just the thought of dreaming big makes them feel, I don't even know the word, maybe fearful to dream big. Like, even if I was to have this big dream, I can't accomplish it because of my current situation, or because of the environment that I'm in, or because of the lack of education, or because I have children, you know, or I'm in this abusive relationship, or I have like this self doubt, low self esteem. Yeah, so it could get a little deep. And then after the process, there is no dry eye after the process. You know, they come out of this process with this beautiful cheer. They get to tell the story, like you said, Miss Liz, behind the cheer. and they get to talk about the process that they went through in order to get to the end result. And that becomes a little emotional for them. Like, wow, I did the impossible. Because when I seen the chair at the beginning, I had no clue on how to dismantle this chair or even transform this chair. I can't do that, you know. I don't have the tools. I don't know how, the know-how. But once they start getting into the process of it, and yeah. But anyways, it's just amazing. I just love what I do.
You're still doing it 10 years later, so it wasn't just a one-time thing, right? It was something that was called for you to do.
Yes, I agree with that. I totally agree.
Yeah. So the word legacy, where did that come in?
It's just my grandma's legacy. Her name is Albertine, um, and her nickname was Teena. So this is her legacy. It's just keeping what she started, moving forward and just kind of taking it to another level. Her twin brother, he supported his family of 13 with an upholstery business out of his garage. So this is kind of like a full circle, type of thing for me. Um, yeah, she was a anchor in our community. She um, she was that individual who would take a community and make them feel good about themselves through design and through fashion. Because again, she was a self-taught seamstress also, and she used to host like these community fashion shows. In the community and even in her home, And she used to make matching outfits where we used to model together. I would never, those were those moments that I would never forget, that she would show, make me an outfit to match hers, and we would just, you know, do our thing on a runway.
And we don't do that enough anymore. I find that we don't do the matching, we don't do the pairing anymore. We're, oh, don't look at me, don't, I don't want to look like you now, where we need to bring that back. Maybe that's part of the legacy as well, is bringing back the pairing, the his and the hers, because you're talking about the men as well, and that, so maybe that's where the Tina's legacy might go in the future, is the his and her, connecting. It might be something for marriages, as a building tool before you get married. You have to take therapy before you get married. Well, there's the upholstery. If you can survive making these chairs, well, then get to the altar.
Let me tell you, I told you the program started off with 11, 10 girls, and it dwindled down to 3. And I see that a lot, even with the young ladies in the other program. We started off with so many, and some of them just can't get past the strip down process because it is tedious work. There are techniques to um, make the process easier, but I don't teach them that technique until after the process, and then they get all upset and you know yelling, and you should have told me this earlier, type of thing. But no, I needed you to cry. I needed you to you know kind of bruise yourself a little bit through this process, or get frustrated, with this process. Beat the chair up a little bit if you have to, through this process, because the idea is, in life in general, you're going to have challenges, but how are you going to deal with it and get through it, right? You can't just, turn your back on it. If you want to move through the storm, you have to fight through it. You just got to go through it, pain and all. So yeah, that stripping process is no joke, especially if you don't have the proper tools to do it too. Like I didn't have the proper tools at the beginning, right? I was using hand staples. Now I got like the compressor and it's like do 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 do. No, at the beginning I had the hand and it was so frustrating. It was so frustrating. At the beginning it was the screwdriver and then nope, let's get the other. But anyways, yeah.
What was the process of growing, right? You had to grow too in order to be able to do what you're doing today. And I love
Yeah.
that you said beat the chair, and rebuild the chair. Like we're rebuilding our lives. Like we come from broken and then we just redesign ourselves, And you also have the other business, the affirm, uh, where is it? Affirm my design. So could you share a little bit about that one, Jamika?
Yeah, so Affirm My Designs was pretty much, it was always something in my spirit. Um, but I really launched it during COVID because with Tina's Legacy, I couldn't do any work, right? Because Tina's Legacy goes to you. You don't come to me. I'm in your schools, in your churches and stuff. So I bring my work to you. So during COVID, I couldn't do anything, right? And I couldn't just do the work. All of my projects were canceled. But then I was like, what do I do? And I was like, well, maybe this is the time to launch, Affirm My Design, which is, a holistic approach to interior design, affirming what you already know is your design, right? Um, so that's when I really declared that it's okay that I am an upholster. um, Doing Tina's Legacy, I never accepted that I was an upholster because I was just teaching it and using it as a tool, for healing and stuff like that. But now I'm actually literally an upholster now. Now I'm literally doing people's furniture through Affirm My Design. So it is an upholstery service um, that encompass that have like different other products like custom pillows and we do draperies, um, footstools, things to that nature. And I started it in my garage, just like my uncle and my grandmother. Took the garage and I decked it out in my grandmother's spirits. I painted some curtains and just made the garage look really cute. And it's really interesting. Once I declared and incorporated as an official business, I literally got my first contract with the church to reupholster 100 of their chairs. My
Wow.
first, yeah, with the firm I
Wow.
designed. So that was like my real first big contract, yeah, with the firm I designed. And after that, it was just word of mouth. I never marketed or anything. And people during COVID was fine dropping their stuff off, at the door. And then I just lift up the garage and bring it in. So we had no contact at all, right? So, and when I was finished, I just put it right back outside of the garage and they put it on their truck or their car and they gone on. So that's how Affirm My Design was kind of birthed.
So you have an auction going on. Is that for the Tina's Legacy or for the Affirm My Design?
So it's over now, but that was amazing. I was working with 9 women and they designed the most amazing chairs. And I decided, let's auction them off. And they got 80% of the money. And then Tina's Legacy got 20%, 8, 9, 10, yep, 20% of the money and went back into Tina's Legacy. So it's also on my website. If you click the auction button, you can see the chairs that were for auction, and I think you can also still see how much they were sold for. The
So how
highest
much
bidder.
do you know how much you raised altogether?
Um, Altogether with the auction, I think it was over $500.
That's awesome.
I think one chair was auctioned off for like $250 for one of the chairs.
That's awesome. And,
Yeah.
and just having that impact and that change, right? Because we always think of big numbers, when we
Mhm.
have an auction and we do these things, but it's the small numbers that actually make a difference because then there's always room to increase those numbers in next year and the year after and the year after, right?
I agree. I
Like if you start off big, where do you go after?
yeah, I totally agree. I think so far Tina's legacy has raised a little over $15,000 this year through grants and through donations. And that money, and the thing about it is that the reason I love what I do is because it doesn't take much, right? I'm not in it to become rich or anything like that. I really genuinely love what I do. I would love to expand. So my ultimate goal is for Tina's Legacy to be in 20 cities nationwide and also in Africa too. I already have a footprint in Nigeria, so I would love to be in, places like Kenya and things of that nature. So I really believe that this is, although it's simple, it could be life changing, so right now, Tina's Legacy is in Chicago, Gary, Indiana, and in Georgia, and in Nigeria. So there's like 17 more cities that I would love to have like a satellite um, hub, in those cities. So
So if anybody wanted to reach you, Jamaica, to get a hub in their community and in their country, can they reach you through your website for that?
they sure can. They
So for
sure.
the viewers and listeners out there that are listening and that might watch a replay later, if you know of anybody that would really enjoy becoming part of Jamaica's dream here, reach out to Jamaica through her website and that. And as you've seen during the show, I've been placing that she's on Twitter, she's on Instagram, she's on Facebook. So you should be able to find Jamaica out there. She's all over, and she's really an incredible woman. And I really want to thank you, Jamaica, for actually coming and sitting and sharing this because I think this is a time of year as well where we need to start redesigning our lives and looking at what's really important and appreciated. Christmas time is coming around the corner, and sometimes we want, but instead of just taking back what we actually have and redesigning it and bringing it back to life in another way. And that's why I really wanted to have you on in December is because I thought it was a good time to bring on that redesigning our lives at Christmas time. You know,
Uh,
stop
uh,
asking for more and start using what we have and appreciating what we have already.
I,
And I love that you say that you're not doing it to be rich because it's not always about the dollar sign. There are purpose and missions and the whys, and sometimes you'll be like you said, it was a 4 day thing where you're like, I'm not taking a chair, I'm not taking it. No, it's staying there. To the point where you're like, you know what, I'm going to do this, and 10 years later, look where you are. You've changed how many lives out there.
And that was all my grandmother. I swear that was her voice because it was so strong. And every time I get stuck on a chair, I always ask for her guidance. And my very first paid commission when I was in Chicago, it was this wingback chair. I know we got 10 minutes, but it was this wingback chair. And really, it's an antique. And this woman sent me some vinyl material, and it was stiff material. It was like this green mauve. It was so ugly. I'm sorry, but she was an elder, right? But the point is that She wanted me to put this vinyl on a wingback chair, and a wingback chair has curves to it, and a vinyl has no pull. It's so stiff, no pull at all. I took this woman's chair loose, and I sat there and I had a breakdown and I cried because I had no clue on how to put that chair back. How was I supposed to use that material to put back on this woman's chair? And I wanted to call her and say, I am so sorry I took your chair loose and I do not know how to put this.
Yeah, I don't know how to do this.
And I cried on my living room floor. And then my grandmother came to me and she said specifically, girl, put it back together piece by piece. So clear, piece by piece. And when you look at a wingback chair, it has, it has different, um, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Different sections to it, right?
So like a
Where
patchwork.
just a patchwork type of thing. So it has like the wing side, the two wing sides, and then had the back. So at the end of the day, that's what I did. I just measured each, because the fabric that was on there, it was just one piece to cover it up, right? But I had to make a pattern for each section of the chair, and being a beginner, not knowing, what to do. Make the long story short, I followed my grandmother's advice, and I put it together piece by piece as I was praying. And I gave that woman her chair back, and she was in love with it. And I seen all the flaws in that chair, but she just seen her fabric on there. She seen the cute little diamond buttons I put to take your eye away from the flaw. Uh, and she loved it. And I was like, if you love it, I love it too. Go on, take that chair. And I hope y'all have a good life. But
But
that's
that's how it is in life, right? We get things given to us and we're like, oh, I don't like it. I don't know what to do with it. And
goodness. I had those moments. I had those moments a couple of times with a recliner, a leather recliner. She gave me like this cowhide material to put on this leather recliner, and these I'm working with this butterfly wingback chair right now that I'm kind of struggling with. But what I noticed is that when I call on my grandma, I don't know what I'm doing. It always turned out the way that it's supposed to. And I'm still totally grateful for her. I am. But she'll come up. And then okay, let me not go there, but I was about to say I'd be smelling her opium perfume too, but that's another topic.
but it's important that you hold on to those memories, right, Jamika? Because you're actually
Mhm.
passing that a lot down to other women, because
Yep.
we seem to forget, the past has a part of our future. So I want to really thank you, Jamika, for sharing that and being open about what you're doing. And thank you again, for accepting coming on Tea Time, because I loved the breaking down, stripping it down to the bare bone and redesigning our lives, because I think that's what we really need to do is really
Yes.
look at our lives. So, any final words before we wrap up your tea time?
No, the year is coming up. A new year is quickly approaching. So if you haven't already, I think it is wise to just, take that time to reflect, and just ask yourself those three important questions. Who am I? If you haven't already, who am I? Where am I? And where am I going? As we gracefully walk into the new year. So, and if you ain't got
So,
no vision board, get that vision board.
so before we wrap up your tea time, we have less than 5 minutes here. I want to get into your favorite color and your one word that you gave me before we wrap up.
My favorite color is purple.
And why is it purple?
I guess that's because this is my birthstone. I'm a February baby. I'm an all over the place child. free
Oh, I
spirited.
got one of those. My son is a February baby.
Be like, girl, if you don't bring it in and get focused, no, don't cage me.
Yeah. Mhm. So, in your
Yeah.
one word that you gave me when I asked you to describe yourself, the word that you gave me was seeker. Why that word?
Yes. I think that I'm always trying to, um, I guess that's where I'm at in my life right now. I'm just seeking. I'm seeking, trying to find my rhythm. I'm seeking, spiritual enlightenment. I'm seeking, um, you know, how to become the best version of myself. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out.
You're seeking away, girl.
Yeah.
Well, and purple tells you a lot about yourself as well, right? Because you're like, don't cage me in. And here you are stripping chairs bare to the bone and recreating them because you don't want to be in that box. You want to be different, right? And I think
I
that's
do.
your color really speaks loud to you and that. So I want to thank you again, Jamika, for everything you're doing. Continue to do what you're doing. All the best tomorrow with all the kids. I can't wait to find out who won first place because I'll be checking that out. So if anybody would like to reach Jamika, you can reach her at her website. You can check her out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all those good places. And let's start supporting the missions and purposes in life instead of the bigger and the badder dogs that I call them that already have a name. Let's start helping the little guys out a little bit more and let's
Yeah.
making a difference.
Yep. Our 10-year anniversary is next year. So if there's anybody out there who would like to help, any advice, like I said, I'm teachable. When it comes to fundraising and things of that nature, I am open to receive any advice, suggestions, way to goes, people to connect with, things of that nature. So,
Well, I think it's really important that we get that shout out there. So for any of the viewers and listeners that are tuning in right now and that will watch the replay, if you want to help Jamika Smith with her dream and her goals and her visions, reach out to her. I highly recommend that you check this woman out because I was called to check you out, Jamika, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta get her on tea time. Like I have to get you here. So again, I
ah,
want to thank you, and I want to thank you for teaching me through the chairs because I've been watching the transformation of these chairs, and I see where it's really empowering and really does make a difference for women out there.
uh,
And in the future, let's see what the men can do. Let's do the his and hers. There's a lot of good things that we can talk about in the back of the stage after the show and that. So we're running out of time because we are coming to the end of 2022. That's right. Jamaica was my second last tea time. So we have one more tea time. But before we have that last tea time, we have a returning guest that's coming in and doing an update. So we have Dr. Anjay Kumar coming in from the Nepal, and he'll be sharing some of the incredible stuff. So he'll be back, and he was on season one, so he's got some incredible stuff. He's also a fellow peace ambassador that was on a project called the Global Peace Challenge 2020, where I met him. So there's a lot of incredible things coming. Then we're finishing up with Freddie Cruz, and we're finishing up with How I Can Ruin Your Christmas. That's right. He's wrote a book about how we can ruin Christmas, but it's going to be a good book. So we're going to do a little bit of that. And then on the 22nd, we have a double reunion tea time where some of the guests from year one, year two, and year three will be coming back and giving you some cool updates and getting to know each other and maybe even collaborating together and making some bigger difference with their teas. So you just never know what'll happen on Tea Time with Miss Liz. So again, Jamika, any final words before we wrap up, and then we will go into the next last tea time of 2022. I can't believe I've already done 1 year with everyone.
no, I just want to thank you. I am so honored to be on your show. Thank you for reaching out to me. This was an amazing experience.
Well, thank you so much, and you did well, girl. You survived. So I'll see everybody on December 12th with Dr. Anjay Kumar Misha, and then I will see everybody with Freddie Cruz for the last tea time of 2022. And I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and checking out Miss Liz's Tea Time. And I will see everybody on the 12th. Have a nice night.
Peace.